Not accused of trying to be part of any sort of stealing of anything there at the store.
Well, there's an awful lot we don't know about what happened there in Ferguson. Rod Wheeler joins us this morning as a Fox News contributor, former D.C. homicide detective. He's in Ferguson now. Rod, you were there last night on the ground. What did you see?
You know, I can tell you firsthand, I was maybe about 2 or 3 blocks away from where we're standing now last night, and I was right in the heart of all of what you just finished showing. And it was chaotic. I mean, it was totally chaotic. You didn't see many police initially, though. I got here yesterday evening about 8 p.m. I didn't see any police, but it was crowds and crowds of people. There was a lot of people walking around, screaming, a lot of loud music, a lot of, marijuana use. And it was just totally chaotic. And it just doesn't seem to me, guys, like it's really an organized protest at all. It's more of just some kind of a big party or something like that.
Well, what do you make of the disconnect between the new captain, Ron Johnson, who was brought in overnight on Thursday to take charge, the highway patrol captain, and then, of course, the white police officer, Thomas Jackson, who was releasing information, and then Ron Johnson coming out saying, I wish the information wasn't released that way. I wish I would have been informed. It seems like it's total chaos at the administrative level, too.
Oh, it's total chaos. Let me tell you, I was talking to some police officers last night, and the police officers that I was speaking with were from St. Louis County. And they gave me the impression as if they didn't even really want to be here. You know, we're in the city of Ferguson. They have their own police department. But the county officers seemed like they didn't even want to be here. And then when I started asking the officers questions about the state police, they gave me a look like, Rod, you know how it is. There's a lot of disconnect here, and I think in order for this situation to get under control, the law enforcement agencies are going to have to come together. One law enforcement agency, guys, doesn't even know what the other law enforcement agency is doing, and it's not just the St. Louis County. You have multiple agencies here on a mutual aid pact from all around the state of Missouri.
Really? Then if there's so many cops there, why'd they let the beauty store get looted? I don't understand that at all.
Well, because... yeah, that's a good question, because the police, and let me just tell you firsthand, the police are not right here. At least last night they wasn't when I was here. They wasn't anywhere around. I mean, there was hundreds, if not thousands of people out there, and I didn't see one police car until after around 1:30 a.m., and that's when the looting started, and then that's when the CS gas was fired, and because that gas was so strong, I had to try to get out of the area because it was really becoming very dangerous. It was a very dangerous situation. You know, you hear noises like you hear gunshots, but I didn't see anybody get shot or anything, but it was totally out of control.
When you hear, Rod, about people like Jesse Jackson coming over there, do you feel as though it's a distraction? Do you feel that his presence incites the situation or creates a more volatile situation? Or is it that there is a climate of people among the minority community that feels like they don't have a voice, and when Jesse Jackson shows up, then they have their voice, they're allowed to be heard?
Well, I think you're right with the latter. I spoke with Jesse Jackson quite a long time yesterday evening, right after we did Hannity's show, and the people here, they do listen to him because Jesse Jackson and we were walking up the block, and he was constantly telling people, no violence, no violence. So I honestly believe in this particular situation, he's been somewhat of a help, and he told me that he's coming back today to try to help calm the nerves of people here, because I'll tell you, after the police chief yesterday, Chief Jackson, released that information with that tape, you know what that did? That kind of sparked another wound in this event. And you can tell, you can look at the people and tell, these people are very bitter, guys, and I don't know if the police department, Ferguson Police Department, will ever be able to come back here and do their jobs properly. It's going to take a long time.
What a mess.
Rod Wheeler, on the ground for us in Ferguson, Missouri. I hope you'll be back in the show for us from there. Thanks a lot, Rod.
Been up all night for us. Got there yesterday afternoon.
Unbelievable. And of course, not everyone feels that way about the way that the Reverend Jesse Jackson's appearance unfolded there in Ferguson. Nigel Enos was on the show yesterday, and he talked about where was Jesse Jackson, Al Sharpton, when all of these murders, all this gun violence was unfolding in cities like Chicago. Listen.
These racial arsonists like Al Sharpton and Jesse Jackson and the new Black Panther Party, they're a disgrace. They are a villain. They are a danger to our community. They are a danger to our civilization. That very week, there were 26 blacks that were shot in Chicago. I saw no Jesse Jackson. I saw no Al Sharpton. You know, I saw no Barack Obama, President Obama, making statements about this. It is safer for young black men to be in Iraq and Afghanistan than downtown Chicago. And that's the president's home.
Look at the media presence that's, covering Ferguson right now. I mean, that's why you see the Jesse Jacksons and the Al Sharptons showing up. There's a major photo op for them. Whether or not they do help the community, that's a question the community can answer.
Really, I can answer it. They don't. They're parasites. I've been to a million different stories where they're on the scene, and it's not clear what they do. You can debate whether they make it worse or not, but they're there because they're stoking racial grievances. And my question, take 3 steps back. Is this a story about race? Do we know that? I've read, I think, everything on this. I don't know what happened between Michael Brown and the cop. I'm certainly sad he got shot to death.
I think the cops don't even know.
Well, I certainly don't, and I can tell you Jesse Jackson and Al Sharpton don't know. So why do we assume that this is a racial case?
That's a great
Well, you have the all-white police department, and then you have a predominantly black community.
So what? What does that mean?
One would venture to think that
Just draw the why should one venture on the basis of what? Why would we think that?
Jonathan Gentry, he's going to be on the show a little bit later. He had that viral video this week.
Right.
We had him on the show a few days ago. And he said when Al Sharpton shows up to town, he does nothing but stoke racial insensitivity and start to tease it. We got to stop blaming the white man for our problems in this county. He said it's black on black crime. We're killing other teens are killing other teens. We're going to talk to him a little bit later.
But nobody cares. Nobody says anything. Like, where are they in Chicago? Jackson used to live in Chicago before he split for LA.
It's believed. And details on Robin Williams' funeral have been released. A source close to the family telling E! News it will be a small private service in San Francisco. A comedy benefit night is also being planned for fans. Dates for the services have not been set. This is friends of the beloved comedian say the cancellation of his TV show, The Crazy Ones, pushed him into a deep depression. They say Williams viewed it as a personal failure and sought help by checking into rehab. Williams took his own life, of course, last week. He was 63 years old, and those are your headlines.
Thanks, Juliet. Plus Parkinson's, apparently.
Yeah.
Which we